Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman taking a jab at former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi over her role in President Biden's decision to drop out of the race. Telling Politico this, he said, quote, "Now she's blaming Biden. Well, you can't have it both ways. You got what you wanted, and now you're still blaming Biden. I think it's really ironic that you have a woman at age 84 and she is still hanging on. Why not give a younger generation an opportunity to occupy that seat?" End quote there. Joining me now, I have Congressman John Morelle, Democrat from New York. Congressman, thanks for being with me on the show this morning. I see you chuckling. What are you getting? What's making you laugh?
A lot makes me laugh. I think it's interesting, but it's not really important. The dispute, Democrats are interesting. Will Rogers once said, "I'm not part of an organized party, I'm a Democrat." So this is sort of our DNA to disagree. And unlike the Republicans who sort of are in lockstep and just follow their leader blindly, we're going to have a lot of conversations about the way the future unfolds.
Yeah, so what do you make of all the infighting among Democrats? Are you telling everyone to cut it out, or what do you make of it?
Well, I often tell people I have a black belt in karate, and the first thing we tell everybody is just to breathe. Take a moment, breathe.
Wait, do you really?
I think that's my advice to my colleagues. Yes, yeah, you wouldn't say it if it's not real, I would hope.
That's incredible. That's awesome. I am curious, though, just what your autopsy report looks like, sir, with what went wrong, and what would you go back and do differently if you could?
Well, I don't know about going back and doing differently. I think, we should be focused on the future. This is what comes through loud and clear to me, that sometimes, and I'm not pointing fingers at any individual. First of all, I do think we need to take a breath, process what we have learned here, and then to really start listening. I mean, people have said this, and I think it's so true. When I'm back home in Rochester, New York, I spend a lot of time with folks. I go to businesses, I go to not-for-profit organizations, I'm in neighborhoods, I knock on doors, often, but just to hear people. What is it that is concerning to you? And clearly, we heard about economic issues. We've heard about the price that people are paying for housing and groceries. I mean, that really ought to be our focus, and because that's what's important to Americans. So what's important to us, or what we think about, I think is far less important than what's important to the people that we represent. And that's what I think we really need to do, a deep dive and spend real time with people in our communities to find out what is it that we missed here. Although in fairness, the House of Representatives, we may have picked up a seat in the House, even in the midst of pretty good numbers for the former and future president. So I think this is more mixed than is being reported. But that's what I think. You got to listen to people. We are representatives. That's both our title and our job description.
Speaking of listening to the people, I mean, voters really showed out for Trump for economy and immigration. Those are the two issues that really won him the presidency. So if those are the winning issues for Republicans, do you think we start to see Democratic policy, Democratic messaging become a little bit more closely aligned with what we're hearing from Republicans?
Well, I think, look, when it comes to those two issues, I think we were making real progress on the economy, sadly. And I think most frustratingly, we weren't able to bring down the price of goods to the point where people were satisfied. We'll see that. I think, honestly, I think the former president is going to be the beneficiary of a lot of the work we did over the last several years. But that's American politics. That's the way it works, and people are frustrated, so they have every right to express themselves. As it relates to immigration and the border, I think we were working down the road towards a bipartisan deal. Unfortunately, the former president short-circuited it, so it couldn't come to fruition. I think that's the frame on which we ought to, from the legislative point of view, start really thinking about both border security and immigration laws in America.
Well, I have to leave it there, but Black Belt Congressman Joe Morelle, thank you so much for your time this morning. I'd like a follow-up story on just that portion. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.